Luna's hand froze mid-air, the tray trembling as every head in the restaurant turned toward her. The silence was deafening. Richard Blackwood stood up, his face red with rage, pointing his finger at her like a weapon. "You're going to kneel," he shouted, his voice echoing off the marble walls of Bella Notte. "And you're going to apologize in front of everyone here for your incompetence." Luna's heart pounded so hard she could hear it in her ears. Tears burned her eyes, but she blinked rapidly to push them away. Not here, not in front of everyone. She had accidentally spilled coffee on his sleeve when he had suddenly extended his arm, but the way he was reacting, it was something more, something cruel, something that had everything to do with the color of her skin and nothing to do with the coffee. I already apologized, sir," Luna murmured, her voice barely audible. "On your knees," Blackwood roared. "I want everyone to see what kind of people work at this place." That's when she heard it, the sound of a chair being pushed back, the sound of slow, deliberate footsteps against the marble floor, and then a voice, deep, calm, but loaded with something that made the entire restaurant freeze. "Is there a problem here?" Luna looked up and her world stopped. The man approaching was impossible to ignore. Impeccable black suit, white shirt partially unbuttoned, revealing a tattoo that climbed up his neck, dark eyes that seemed to see through people. Tony Bellucci. Everyone in New York knew that name, even if only in whispers. The man who controlled half the city. The man no one challenged, and he was looking directly at her. If you want to discover how this night changed Luna's life forever, and what happened when the most dangerous mafia boss in New York decided that no one would ever humiliate her again, subscribe to the channel and leave in the comments where you're watching from. Every view helps bring more exciting stories like this one. Now let's go back to the beginning of this story. 6 hours earlier, Luna Foster was in her tiny apartment in the Bronx, staring at the bills scattered across the kitchen table. Late rent, utility bills, community college tuition. Each number seemed to scream at her, reminding her that no matter how hard she worked, it was never enough. "Mommy, are you going to work again?" Mia's soft voice came from the couch where the little girl was coloring. Luna turned and forced a smile, the kind of smile she had perfected over the last 4 years. The smile that said everything's fine when nothing was fine. "Yes, sweetheart, but Grandma's going to stay with you." "You always work," Mia murmured, her brown eyes too big for her small face. "You're never home." The words pierced Luna's heart like knives. She worked 3 jobs: early morning cleaner, afternoon store clerk, evening waitress at Bella Notte, the most exclusive Italian restaurant in Manhattan. Every penny went to Mia, to give her the life Luna never had. But the cost was not being there to see her daughter grow up. "I know, baby," Luna whispered, kneeling beside Mia and kissing her forehead. "But Mummy's doing this for us, so you can have everything you deserve." Mia nodded, but her eyes were still sad. Luna felt her throat tighten. Not now. She couldn't fall apart now, she had to be strong. 2 hours later, Luna was in the locker room at Bella Notte, putting on the black uniform that made her feel invisible. She looked at her reflection in the stained mirror. 23 years old, but sometimes she felt like she was 40. The other waiters were already getting ready, talking about their lives. Luna didn't participate. She wasn't there to make friends. She was there to survive. "Luna!" The harsh voice of the manager, Robert Mitchell, cut through her thoughts. "Table 12, VIP. Don't screw this up." She nodded and walked out to the main dining room. Bella Notte was everything her world wasn't. Crystal chandeliers, marble tables, clients in clothes that cost more than her year's rent. She moved between tables like a ghost, serving food and wine, smiling politely, always invisible, until table 12. When Luna approached, she felt something change in the air. The table was in the most private corner of the restaurant, partially hidden by velvet curtains. 4 men sat there, all in suits, all with the posture of people who had never been challenged in their lives. But it was the man with his back to her that made everyone in the restaurant cast nervous glances in that direction. Even without seeing his face, Luna knew he was dangerous. "Good evening, gentlemen," she said, keeping her voice steady. "May I start with drinks?" That's when he turned, and Luna forgot how to breathe. The man was devastatingly handsome in a way that seemed almost cruel. Defined jaw, eyes so dark they looked black, black hair combed back. The tattoo on his neck was visible above the collar of his white shirt, elegant lines that disappeared under the fabric. but it was the way he looked at her that made her freeze, as if she were the only person in the restaurant, as if he could see through her. "Chianti," he said, his voice deep with a slight Italian accent. "The 1998. Luna nodded and walked away quickly, her heart beating too fast. She had served hundreds of customers. Why was this one different? Why did it feel like her world had tilted on its axis the moment their eyes met? She brought the wine, served with slightly trembling hands, and tried to walk away. But then Richard Blackwood entered the restaurant. Luna knew him by sight. He came every week, always rude, always condescending to the staff. Rich, powerful, and absolutely aware of it. He sat at his usual table, snapped his fingers to call Luna, and started making demands before she could even ask what he wanted. Water without ice, bread without butter, and bring me the wine list immediately. Luna did everything he asked, moving quickly between tables, balancing trays, smiling when she wanted to scream. That's when everything fell apart. She was serving coffee to Blackwood when he suddenly extended his arm to grab his phone, hitting her hand. The coffee spilled, staining the sleeve of his expensive shirt. "You idiot!" Blackwood shouted, standing up so abruptly that his chair fell. "Do you know how much this shirt costs?" "Sir, I'm so sorry," Luna began, her heart sinking. "Sorry isn't enough." He was getting louder, crueler. People were staring. "You're going to pay for this. You're going to—" "Richard!" The voice cut through the air like a blade. Cold. Dangerous. Luna turned and saw the man from table 12 standing, his presence dominating the entire room. All the other customers suddenly found their plates very interesting. The manager had frozen near the kitchen, his face pale. "Tony," Blackwood said, and there was something in his voice that wasn't there before. Fear. "This isn't your business. You're making a scene in my favorite restaurant," Tony said calmly, walking slowly toward them. Each step was measured, controlled. "That makes it my business. She ruined my shirt." "She?" Tony stopped just a meter away. "She has a name." The silence was absolute. Luna could barely breathe. What was happening? Why was this man getting involved? "What's your name?" Tony asked, his eyes turning to her. "Luna," she whispered. "Luna Foster." Something passed through his eyes, something she couldn't identify. Then he looked back at Blackwood. "You're going to sit down, Richard. You're going to finish your meal in silence. And you're going to leave a $1,000 tip for Miss Foster, or you're going to find out what happens when you displease me." The words were calm, almost kind, but the threat behind them was unmistakable. Blackwood swallowed hard, his face still red, but he sat down. He didn't say another word. Tony turned to Luna. "Are you okay?" She nodded, unable to find words. He studied her for a long moment, and then returned to his table without another word. But Luna knew somehow that this wasn't over. This was just the beginning. 3 days passed since that night at Bella Notte, and Luna couldn't stop thinking about him. Tony Bellucci. The name echoed in her mind during her morning cleaning shifts, during her classes at community college, during every quiet moment when Mia was asleep. She had researched him, of course. Everyone knew the Bellucci name, one of the oldest and most powerful Mafia families in New York. He was the Don now, controlled everything from the port to downtown, had connections everywhere. And he had defended her. Why? Luna was cleaning the floor of an office building lobby at 6 in the morning when her phone rang. Unknown number. She normally didn't answer, but something made her slide the green screen. "Hello? Miss Foster." The voice was immediately recognizable, deep, controlled, with that touch of Italian accent that made her stomach tighten. Tony Bellucci. Luna almost dropped the phone. "How did you get my number?" It's not hard to find information when you know where to look. There was something in his voice that could be a smile. "I need to talk to you. Today. I'm working." "I know. You finish at 8. A car will pick you up." "Wait, I didn't say—" "Luna." The way he said her name made something strange happen in her chest. "Please, it's not a business request. I just want to make sure you're okay. Blackwood has influence. I want to make sure he's not causing you trouble." She hesitated. Everything in her survival instinct screamed to refuse. Men like Tony Bellucci were dangerous, but there was something in his voice, genuine concern. And God help her, she wanted to see him again. "Okay," she whispered. The car that picked her up was a black SUV with tinted windows, the kind she saw in movies. The driver didn't speak, just opened the door for her and drove through Manhattan to a small discreet cafe in the West Village. When they entered, Luna noticed the place was empty, completely empty, except for a man sitting at a table in the back. Tony stood when he saw her. He was wearing dark jeans and a black shirt, more casual than the other night, but somehow even more intimidating. The tattoo on his neck was more visible now, intricate lines that formed what looked like a rose with thorns. "Thank you for coming," he said, gesturing to the chair across from him. Luna sat, her hands clasped in her lap. "You rented out the entire cafe?" "Privacy." He sat too, his eyes never leaving hers. "Did you have breakfast?" "I don't have much time." "Luna." Again that voice, gentle but firm. "When was the last time you ate a proper meal?" She blinked, caught off guard by the question. "Like last night." "Lie." He gestured and a waitress appeared from nowhere, placing plates of fresh bread, fruit, omelets, orange juice. "Eat." "I can't accept this." "You can, and you will." Tony leaned forward, his elbows on the table. "Let me be clear about something. I'm not a good man, Luna. I've done things that would make you run if you knew, but I don't tolerate cowardice. And what Blackwood tried to do that night, that was pure cowardice. You didn't have to get involved." "Yes, I did." His voice had gotten lower, more intense. "You know why?" She shook her head, her heart beating fast. "Because when I looked at you in that moment, I saw something I haven't seen in a long time. Courage. You were terrified, but you didn't kneel, didn't beg. You kept your dignity even when everyone was watching." He paused. "That deserves respect." Luna felt tears burn her eyes. No one had ever spoken to her like this. No one had ever seen anything beyond the waitress, the cleaner, the single mother struggling to survive. "Eat," Tony said again, softer this time. "Please." She ate, and while she ate, they talked. She told him about her 3 jobs, about trying to finish college, about wanting more from life but never having time to achieve it. He listened, really listened, not just waiting for his turn to talk. And when she asked about him, he was surprisingly honest. "I was born into this life," he said. "My father was Don before me. I never had a choice. When I was 18, I took over the family business. Now I'm 32, and I've spent half my life making sure no one challenges my territory." He paused, something dark passing through his eyes. "It's lonely. Even surrounded by people, it's lonely." "Why are you telling me this?" Luna asked quietly. Tony was silent for a long moment. Then, "Because you asked." Most people are too afraid to ask real questions. 2 hours passed like minutes. When Luna finally looked at the clock and realized she was late for her next shift, she panicked. "I have to go. I'm going to get fired." "You won't." Tony was standing, throwing money on the table. "What's your next job?" "Department store downtown. But I'll take the subway. My driver will take you." "Tony, I can't." "Luna." He was close to her now, so close she could feel the heat of his body. "Stop fighting me on everything. Let me help you." "Why?" The word came out as a whisper. "Why do you care?" He raised his hand, and for a moment she thought he was going to touch her face, but he held back, letting his hand drop. "Because you make me want to be better than I am." In the following days, strange things started happening. Her landlady called saying someone had paid the next 3 months' rent. Anonymous, she said. Then her utility bills were paid. Then she came home and found bags of groceries at the apartment door. Mia was thrilled, but Luna was terrified. She knew who it was, and she knew she needed to stop it. "You can't do this," she shouted into the phone when she finally confronted Tony. "I didn't ask for your help." "I know." He sounded completely calm. "Then why? Why are you doing this?" "Because I can. Because you need it. Because—" He stopped. "Because when I think about you working 3 jobs, barely sleeping, barely eating, something in me refuses to stand by and do nothing. I'm not your responsibility." "No." His voice had gotten softer. "But I wish you were." Luna stopped, her heart beating so hard it hurt. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I can't stop thinking about you. I'm saying for the first time in years, I wake up in the morning and actually want to be awake. I'm saying—" He took a deep breath. "That you scare me, Luna Foster, because you make me feel things I swore I'd never feel." The silence stretched between them. Luna closed her eyes, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I have a daughter," she whispered. 4 years old. I never told you because you were protecting her." There was no judgment in his voice. "What's her name?" "Mia. Mia," he repeated, and there was something in how he said the name. Softness, respect. "Thank you for telling me. Tony, I can't let you into our lives. You're dangerous. What you do is dangerous. Mia, I would never let anything happen to you or Mia. His voice was iron. Never. I know you have no reason to believe me, but I swear on my life, Luna, nothing will touch you two. How can you promise that? Because anyone who tries will have to go through me first, and that, he said calmly, isn't easy to do. A week later, Luna made a mistake. She let Mia out of her sight for just 2 minutes at the playground, while taking a call about an extra shift. When she looked up, Mia had disappeared. The panic that tore through her chest was unlike anything she'd ever felt. She ran through the park, screaming Mia's name, her heart pounding so hard she thought she'd faint. People stared. No one helped. Then she saw her. Mia was across the street, chasing a ball that had rolled into the busy avenue, and a car was coming, fast. Luna screamed, ran, but she was too far. The car was approaching. Mia was frozen in the middle of the street, her eyes wide with fear. That's when the black SUV appeared from nowhere, skidding in front of Mia at an angle that blocked the oncoming car. Brakes screeched, metal groaned, and then the SUV door opened and Tony got out, scooping Mia into his arms and running back to the sidewalk. Luna arrived seconds later, tearing Mia from his arms, holding her daughter so tight the girl protested. She was shaking violently, sobs tearing through her throat. "She's safe," Tony said, his voice calm even though Luna could see his hands trembling slightly. "She's safe, Luna." How were you here?" Luna managed to ask between tears. Tony hesitated. "I have someone watching you, for protection." "You were following me?" "Protecting." His voice was firm. "Richard Blackwood isn't the kind of man who forgets. He's been asking questions about you. I wasn't going to let anything happen." Luna should be angry, should feel violated, but all she felt was overwhelming relief. "You saved my daughter. I said I'd protect you both." Tony knelt to Mia's level, who was still in Luna's arms but looking at him with curiosity. "Hi, Mia. My name is Tony." "You're big," Mia said, with the brutal honesty of children. Tony smiled, and it was the first time Luna had seen him really smile. It transformed his entire face. "I am. Does that scare you?" Mia thought for a moment. "No. You saved my ball." She held up the ball that Tony had apparently also grabbed. "I did, but you have to promise me something. Never run into the street without looking first, okay?" "Okay," Mia agreed seriously. Then, "Are you Mommy's boyfriend?" Luna choked. "Mia!" But Tony just laughed, soft and rich. "I'd like to be. Your mom won't let me." "Why not, Mommy?" Mia asked, turning in Luna's arms to look at her. "He's handsome, and he saved my ball." Despite everything, Luna laughed, tears still streaming down her face. "Baby, it's complicated. Grown-ups always say that," Mia said with disgust. Tony stood. "Let me take you home, please." Luna nodded. She was too exhausted, too emotionally drained to argue. In the car, Mia fell asleep leaning against Luna. Tony drove personally, his eyes occasionally meeting Luna's in the rearview mirror. When they reached her building, he insisted on carrying them upstairs. Luna didn't have the strength to protest. Inside the tiny apartment, Tony gently laid Mia on the small couch, covering her with a blanket. Then he turned to Luna, and the expression on his face made her breath catch. "I know what you're going to say," Luna began. "That you can't keep doing this. That this is too complicated, that I love you." The words fell between them like a bomb. Luna froze, her eyes wide. "I know it's early," Tony continued, his voice low and intense. "I know it seems crazy, but I spent 32 years feeling nothing. And then I looked at you in that restaurant and felt everything." He took a step closer. "You're brave and beautiful and strong. And when I think about what could have happened today," his voice broke slightly. "I can't lose you, or Mia, I can't." "Tony," Luna whispered, tears streaming down her face again. "You don't have to say it back. You don't have to feel anything. But I needed you to know." He raised his hand, and this time he touched her face, his fingers gentle against her cheek. "You and Mia deserve the world, and I want to be the man who gives it to you." "I'm scared," Luna confessed, "of what you are, of what you do, of bringing Mia into that world." "I know, and you have every right to be." Tony leaned closer, his forehead almost touching hers. "But I swear by everything I am, Luna, that I'll keep you safe. Always. What if you can't?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "What if something happens to you? What if—" "Then you'll survive, because that's what you do. You survive." He kissed her forehead, so gentle it brought new tears. "But I'm not going anywhere. Not if you let me stay." Luna closed her eyes, allowing herself to melt against him just for a moment. He smelled like expensive cologne and something purely masculine. His arms around her were strong, solid, safe. And for the first time in 4 years, she didn't feel completely alone. "Stay," she whispered into his chest. "At least for today, just stay. Always," he promised, and she believed him. That night, after Mia woke up and ate, Tony ordered pizza. They watched cartoons together on the tiny couch, Mia between them, laughing at something silly on TV. Luna looked at this moment, this strange, impossible, perfect moment, and realized she had fallen in love with him, completely and irrevocably, and it terrified her. It was Mia who changed everything. 2 weeks after that night, Tony had become part of their lives in ways Luna never imagined. He showed up for breakfast with bread from the best bakery in the city. He took Mia to the park while Luna studied. He sent drivers to pick her up after late-night shifts so she wouldn't take the subway alone. But he never pushed for more, never tried to enter her apartment when Mia was asleep, never made demands. He was just present, solidly, consistently present. Luna had thought that maybe, just maybe, this could work, that somehow they could build something real, until the night Richard Blackwood came back. She was at Bella Notte, serving wine, when she felt eyes on her. She turned and saw Blackwood sitting at his old table, a cruel smile on his face. Her stomach sank. "Miss Foster," he said when she reluctantly approached. "What a pleasant surprise. What can I bring you tonight, sir?" Luna kept her voice professional, neutral. "Information." He leaned back in his chair. "About you and Tony Bellucci." Luna's heart stopped. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't you?" Blackwood laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Because I've done my research. You have a daughter, 4 years old, pretty curly hair, goes to daycare on 5th Street. Luna's blood froze. "Don't you dare!" "Don't I dare what?" He leaned forward. "You think you can humiliate a man like me? Have Bellucci threaten me and there won't be consequences? You think I don't know he's fucking you? Think I can't use that? I'm nothing to Tony Bellucci," Luna lied desperately. "He just defended me that night. There was nothing more." "Liar." Blackwood threw an envelope on the table. "Photos. Of him taking you home. Of him at the park with your bastard. Of him looking at you like you're something precious." He smiled. "Bellucci's rivals would pay a lot for this information, a weakness they can exploit." Luna could barely breathe. "What do you want?" "I want you to leave town, take your daughter, and disappear. Because if you don't, I'll make sure everyone in the underworld knows about Tony Bellucci's little passion. And then," he leaned closer, "your daughter will become a target, just like you." Tears burned Luna's eyes. "You're a monster." "I'm a man who doesn't like being disrespected." Blackwood stood. "You have 24 hours. Disappear or suffer the consequences." Luna ran to the bathroom and threw up. Afterward, with trembling hands, she called Tony. He arrived at the restaurant in 15 minutes, his scanning eyes immediately searching for her. When he saw her pale and shaking in the locker room, something deadly passed through his face. "What happened?" She told him everything. Every word Blackwood said. The photos. The threats. When she finished, Tony was so quiet it was terrifying. "Where is he now?" His voice was ice cold. "Tony, don't—" "Where is he?" He left. "But Tony, he's right. If people know about me, about Mia, we become targets. I have to leave. I have to—" "You're not going anywhere." Tony held her face in his hands, forcing her to look at him. "Do you hear me? You're not going anywhere. He'll hurt Mia." "No one," Tony said, each word cut with precision, "is going to lay a finger on Mia. Or you. I'll deal with Blackwood." "How? You can't just kill him. That will—" "I'm not going to kill him." Tony's smile was terrifying. "Death is too merciful. I'm going to destroy everything he loves, his businesses, his reputation, his family. When I'm done, he'll wish I had just killed him. Tony. And then," he continued, ignoring her interruption, "I'm going to make sure everyone knows that you and Mia are under my protection, not as a secret, not as something to hide, as a fact." Luna shook her head. "That will make everything worse." "No, it won't." His eyes drilled into hers. "Because when I speak, people listen. And when I say someone is under my protection, it means touching them is touching me. And no one," his voice dropped to a dangerous whisper, is stupid enough to touch me. You don't understand what you're risking. I understand perfectly. Tony kissed her forehead, then her cheek, then hovered near her lips. I'm risking everything. Because you and Mia are worth everything. Then he kissed her, deep and desperate and promising everything. Luna melted into him, her fingers gripping his shirt, letting herself believe just for a moment that this could work. When they pulled apart, Tony touched her face one more time. Go home, stay with Mia. I'll send men to watch your building. No one gets in without my permission. And you? I have work to do. His smile was dark. Richard Blackwood is going to learn why no one threatens what's mine. That night Luna didn't sleep. She held Mia watching her daughter sleep and tried not to imagine all the ways this could go wrong. By morning her hands were still shaking. That's when her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Luna Foster. The voice was female, official. This is Mount Sinai Hospital. Tony Bellucci listed you as his emergency contact. He's been shot. Luna's world collapsed. The hospital was a blur. Luna ran through the corridors, Mia in her arms because she had no one to leave her with, her heart pounding so fast she could barely breathe. Men in black suits filled the waiting room, all of them stopping and staring when she entered. Tony Bellucci, she gasped to the nurse. He listed me as a contact. Where is he? One of the suited men approached. He was large, intimidating, with a scar on his face. You're Luna? She nodded, holding Mia tighter. Carlo Rossi. I'm Tony's consigliere. He gestured to the elevators. Come with me. In the elevator, Carlo spoke low and fast. Blackwood hired shooters. They got Tony when he was leaving a meeting. 3 shots. Chest, shoulder, abdomen. He paused. He's in surgery now. It's been 4 hours. 4 hours? Luna felt tears burn. Why didn't anyone call me before? He didn't want to. Said to wait until we were sure he'd survive surgery. Didn't want to scare you without reason. Idiot, Luna whispered, tears falling freely now. Stupid idiot. He loves you, Carlo said simply. Never seen the boss like this. He loves you, and he loves your daughter. That's why he did what he did. What did he do? Blackwood is dead. Carlo's voice was neutral, factual. Not by us. Tony didn't give the order, but word spread about what he tried to do, about how he threatened you and the little one. Other families weren't happy. Blackwood was found in the Hudson River this morning. Luna closed her eyes. She should feel bad, should be horrified, but all she felt was dark, terrible satisfaction. And the shooters? Also dead, before they could report success. Carlo stopped as the elevator opened. Surgery room 3. The doctors said you can wait there. The waiting room outside surgery was small and sterile. Luna sat with Mia, who had been strangely quiet, sensing something was wrong. Minutes dragged like hours. Luna prayed, even though she hadn't prayed in years. Please, please let him be okay, please. Finally, after what felt like days but was only 2 hours, a doctor came out. He looked exhausted. Family of Tony Bellucci? Luna stood. That's me. How is he? Stable. We removed the bullets. There was some damage to the lungs and liver, but he'll survive. The doctor paused. He's very lucky. A few inches in any direction and... Can I see him? He's in recovery. Still unconscious. But yes, you can. The room was dark. Only the lights from machines illuminating the space. Tony looked smaller in the hospital bed, tubes and wires connected to him, but his chest rose and fell. He was alive. Luna sat beside the bed, holding his free hand. Mia had fallen asleep in the chair beside her, exhausted from everything. Idiot, Luna whispered, stroking her fingers over his. You stupid idiot. You said you'd keep yourself safe. You promised. She stayed like that, holding his hand, crying silently for hours. That's when she felt his fingers squeeze slightly around hers. His eyes opened, confused at first, then focusing on her. Luna, he rasped, his voice hoarse. Don't talk, she whispered. Don't move, you were shot, you idiot. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. Worth it. How is it worth it? You almost died. Blackwood can't hurt you anymore. He tried to sit up, groaned in pain, and she gently pushed him back. I said don't move. Where's Mia? There. Luna gestured to the chair where Mia slept all curled up. She was worried about you. Something soft passed through Tony's face. Is she okay? She is. I'm not. Luna squeezed his hand. You terrified me. When I got that call, I thought... Sorry. He raised his free hand, touching her face. Sorry for scaring you, but I don't regret what I did. You and Mia are safe now. That's all that matters. You matter! Luna was almost shouting in whispers so as not to wake Mia. You idiot, you matter! I know. He pulled her closer until her forehead touched his. Because you love me. Just like I love you. Luna didn't deny it. Couldn't. Yes, I love you. And that's why you're never going to do something stupid like this again, understand? Never again. I make promises I can keep. But there was a smile in his voice. Will you marry me? Luna pulled back, her eyes wide. What? Marry me. His voice was stronger now, more certain. I want you, I want Mia. I want to build a life with you, a real life. Tony, you just got out of surgery, and the only thing I could think about while being shot was that I was going to die without making you my wife. His eyes drilled into hers. So I'm asking now, marry me, Luna Foster. Let me give you everything. Let me love you for the rest of my life. Yes. The word came out before she could think. Yes, I'll marry you. Tony pulled her into a kiss, awkward because of the bandages and tubes, but perfect still. When they pulled apart, they were both laughing and crying at the same time. I'm going to give you the world, he promised. I just want you, Luna replied. Alive. Safe. Here with me. Always, he said. And this time, she knew it was true. 3 years later, Luna stood on the terrace of the mansion she now called home, watching Mia play in the massive garden with her 1-year-old little sister Sophia. The summer sun shone over everything, making the flowers in the garden sparkle like jewels. It was hard to believe this was her life now, that the girl who had worked 3 jobs, who had lived in a tiny apartment, who had trembled under the threats of men like Richard Blackwood, now lived here, in this place of dreams. But it wasn't the mansion that made this feel like home. It wasn't the money or the expensive clothes or the fact that she had finished college and was now starting a master's degree. It was the man who was coming out of the house at this moment, walking toward her with that smile that still made her heart skip. Hi, beautiful, Tony said, sliding his arms around her waist from behind and kissing her neck. Hi yourself. Luna leaned against him, perfectly comfortable in his embrace. How was the meeting? Boring. All I could think about was coming back home. To you. Luna turned in his arms, looking up at the man who had changed her entire life. He had some scars now, physical reminders of that terrible night, but he was alive, and he was hers. I love you, she said simply. I love you more. He kissed her deep and slow. Thank you. For what? For giving me a reason to be better, for giving me a family, for giving me you. He looked at where Mia was teaching Sophia to catch butterflies. For the first time in my life, I'm happy, truly happy, and it's all because of you. Luna smiled, tears of joy in her eyes. We did this together. I wouldn't be who I am now without you either. Mommy, Daddy, look! Mia was running toward them, Sophia stumbling behind. We caught a butterfly! Tony crouched down as the girls arrived, laughing as Mia proudly showed the butterfly in her cupped hands. Sophia clapped, still not exactly knowing what was happening but excited anyway. Luna watched her family, this impossible, beautiful, perfect piece of happiness, and realized something. She had started with nothing. She had faced humiliation and danger. She had almost lost everything. But in the end, she had won everything. Love, family, a future that shone brighter than any diamond. And as the sun set over her new world, tinting everything golden, Luna knew that every tear, every fear, every moment of doubt had been worth it. Because this here now was everything she had ever wanted, and it was real. This is the story of Luna and Tony, of how true love can transform even the most unlikely lives. If this story touched your heart, leave your like and share with someone who also believes in the power of love. New exciting stories arrive every week. Until next time.